Hey everyone, welcome back to Simming History, where we look at the history of architecture through the lens of The Sims. And today on Simming History, we're going to take a look at the Octagon house, a type of vernacular architecture found in the United States. A while ago, I was watching a speed build of an Octagon house by a Simmer on YouTube, and to them they said that the Octagon house screamed 1980s, and although it's true the Octagon house, among other layouts, were popular in the 1980s, it actually originates far earlier. In its most popular time frame was actually between 1850 and 1870, though it even predates that. Thomas Jefferson himself built an Octagon home at Poplar Forest. And scattered across the country, there are utilitarian and municipal buildings that are octagon in shape, everything from train stations to barns. But we're just going to look at the Octagon house that was popular in that 20-year span in the mid-1800s. Now this particular style from that period is actually pretty rare. There's only about 2,000 left in the country. It was made popular by a book called The Octagon House, A Home for All by Orson Fowler. He asserted several things in his book. First, he asserted that octagons provide more square footage per linear foot of wall, and that is actually true. If you look at, say, a 1 square foot by 1 square foot square, you have a perimeter of 4 feet, but a square footage of 1 square foot, whereas an octagon that has a perimeter of 4 feet has a square footage of about 1.2 square feet. So you do actually get more square footage per linear foot in an octagon. And he argued that that made it a more economical building. He also stated it eliminated dark corners by providing more light and air, which is sort of true. I mean, an octagon is sort of like building a round house, right? But the issue with the octagon that he ignored, interestingly, is what do you do with the insides? See, he ignored the interior room layout, which would inevitably create weird little triangular spaces, because everyone still wants their interior rooms to be relatively normal in shape. And what do you do with these weird little triangular spaces? Well, generally they ended up becoming pantries or closets or bathrooms, which really kind of wasted all those additional windows and ventilation opportunities. The Octagon home also frequently featured low-sloped roofs with extended gables that covered porches, and sometimes these porches were on every single livable floor, and these homes usually were only 2 floors or 2 stories, but there are a couple well-known historic examples like the Watertown Octagon house that I believe are 3 stories. The most common first floor layout for the Octagon home would have included a kitchen, a formal dining room, a formal parlor, and then a less formal parlor for the family's use. Now for this build, I have elected to not furnish the home historically, but rather to furnish out how a family today would make use of those rooms. So just like back then, of course, we need the kitchen and a dining room. But the family sitting room, the casual family sitting room, today would serve as a family room or a TV room, and that formal sitting room in most households served some other purpose. And in my house growing up, it served as an office. So that's how I furnished it in this build. Now the second floor of the Octagon house traditionally would have had anywhere between 4 and 8 bedrooms. Yes, you heard me right, 4 to 8. And they very well may not have had an upstairs hallway. So you would have come up the stairs, gone into a room, and then traveled to your room through all of the adjacent bedrooms. This was a period of time where hallways weren't always used. It was considered almost wasted space. And a lot like we've seen in other builds like the shotgun house, there was a different perception on privacy at the time. And yeah, you did hear me right, I said 4 to 8. So in other words, those 4 regular shaped rooms would have been bedrooms. Those 4 triangular shaped rooms may have also been bedrooms. I'm not quite certain just how much furniture you could fit in a room so small, but on the Watertown Octagon house, for example, the Historic American Building Survey drawings list all of those small triangular rooms as bedrooms. Interestingly to note, Orson Fowler, the author of the Octagon house, actually advocated for advancements in technology, including indoor plumbing. So I suspect if anyone really was following his advice, a lot of these triangular rooms would have been turned into bathrooms. So that's what I've done in this build. They still make very strange bathrooms. I think it's a better use for them than a bedroom, but it's still quite challenging to fit everything you need in such a small, awkwardly shaped space. So I'm going to leave you now to enjoy the rest of the build, do some music, because unfortunately there really isn't much more to say. The Octagon house is a pretty simple, economical building that very sadly there's not a lot of them left for us to learn from. So please enjoy the rest of this build, and I'll be back momentarily. So thanks for joining me today as we built the Octagon house. I hope you found it interesting. I've always wanted to see the interior of one myself, and anytime I'm on vacation, I get really excited if I happen to see one. And I did get to see one last year, summer of 2019, while on vacation. And I even, yes, stopped my car to take a picture because spotting these is just so incredibly rare. Anyway, as usual, you can find me on the Sims 4 gallery where I post playable versions of my builds, including the modern version of this one and a historic version of this one for the History Challenge. You can also find me on Instagram at Simming History where I post teasers for next week's video. And until next time, bye!